Hi, I'm Dr. Emily Kiberd, and we are talking about how to work out without the burnout. And I'm so excited to be here at the Fitness Mastery Summit.
Before we start, I'd like to offer this short disclaimer. This presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not meant to be, nor should it be taken as medical advice. Watching or hearing this presentation does not constitute a doctor-patient relationship. Please see your doctor before starting any new diet, supplement, treatment, or exercise activity. The opinions expressed by the guest speakers are solely their current opinions and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Dr. Venus. The guest speakers' opinions are based upon information they consider reliable, but Dr. Venus does not warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such.
Dr. Emily Kiberd is a chiropractor and founder of Thyroid Strong, the only workout program tailored for women with Hashimoto's. Dr. Kiberd's mission is to empower women to exercise safely and effectively for better thyroid health. Welcome to the Fitness Mastery Summit, Dr. Kiberd.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, this is going to be a really exciting topic because it's going to be able to keep us more excited about our workouts. We're talking about making sure that our energy levels are there when we need them to stay working out, to stay motivated to work out, and just continue to thrive in our lives outside of working out. So basically, let's just get right down to the problem. What are some of the common mistakes people make when they're that might actually drain them during their workouts?
Yeah, I think especially in our culture of like more type A, go, 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 I think people are not taking long enough rest breaks between their sets. Like if you go to a boutique fitness class, there's not a long rest break, right? There is definitely ideal amount of rest time, sometimes up to 5 minutes between sets. And when you actually take that time, it can feel really long and really like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this much time is needed between sets. Other things people do would be not fueling properly afterwards, after they're working out. So not hitting their protein or their carb goals in order to help with muscle recovery.
Mm.
I think other things would be like not prioritizing sleep, right? Like
Oh,
working out hard, but also staying up late. And I think one of the other ones that I really see is working out and then just kind of going back to a sedentary lifestyle. So some of it is during the workout, right? Not taking long enough rest break, but so much of it is after the workout as well in terms of rest and recovery and not burning out.
I love that you brought out that sleep thing because it's so important to be able to get enough sleep. And I find that sometimes people are so intent and focused and got to get that workout in that
Yeah.
some people tend to work out and squeeze it in right before they go to sleep, and then they may be the type of person that gets really energized by a workout and has trouble winding down enough to get that sleep.
Yeah, I like our workout to kind of go with the timing of our circadian rhythm, right? So our cortisol should be highest in the morning and then goes down as the day goes on. You can think of cortisol like the sun, and as it's going down, as the day progresses, melatonin increases. So melatonin is a moon. So you don't want to be doing a workout at 8 p.m. when the moon should be coming up and you should be putting yourself to bed. So I try to encourage people to do a workout closer to the morning. Um, I like to work out before 2 p.m. If I work out after 2 p.m., I definitely get kind of a second wind at 10 p.m. and then I'm up. So yeah, I try to have people do their workout with their circadian rhythm and their cortisol curve.
That makes a lot of sense. And I
Yeah.
know for myself that I used to be able to be the type that could work out and then go right to bed. And that was back in my medical school days, much younger then. When
Yeah.
I was intent on getting that workout in, I just slide into the med school gym late night and then walk right back to my apartment, which was walking distance from school, of course,
Yeah.
even in the late night to go to bed. But those were my younger years. And as we get older, that's our bodies aren't as, I don't know, pliable to fit in with the crazy lifestyles that we sometimes want to push in.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking um, that really balancing things out, trying to figure out how to balance the intensity and the duration of the workout with our desire to really want to challenge ourselves can sometimes be challenging. Challenging in
Yeah,
itself. And it can
100%.
really wipe us out if we don't really get that right, as far as we want to push ourselves and we want to, but we don't want to drain ourselves. So, how do we find that balance in terms of finding the right intensity and duration for our workouts?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is meeting yourself where you're at. Um, for women who are maybe more on the autoimmune side or easier to being predisposed to being fatigued easily, I like to do a little bit of lower reps, heavier weight so you can still hit that muscular fatigue where strength and muscle hypertrophy happens, but then also long rest breaks between sets. So typically I see people who are doing high intensity interval training 5 days a week, right? And they're burning
Mm.
themselves out. High intensity interval training, HIIT training, really is only meant to be done in short spurts, like 12 minutes total. It's not meant to be a 50-minute class. I find people are doing probably too much cardio, especially when we think about weight loss. I think culturally there's this stigma of like, go do cardio to lose weight. When really, if we really feed our muscle tissue, we can start to change body composition. So when people are easily fatigued, we're looking at, okay, are they mixing up their workout with strength, with HIIT training? So not doing 5 days of HIIT training. Are they mixing up their cardio with a base of strength? So maybe 3 days of lifting with a strength focus, and just making sure that they are resting and recovering properly as well. So it's a little bit of a mix because everyone kind of comes into working out from a different place. Like I know back in the day, I used to do double spin classes. So I do 90 minutes of spin and then I would kind of crash at 2 p.m. And I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I wasn't losing weight. My body wasn't changing. But when I focused on, and this is what I do with the women I work with, when we focus on muscle tissue, it's like every single decision in your day is around how do you feed your muscle tissue? So how do you feed it from a protein aspect? How do you feed it from proper strength training? Because the more muscle you have, the more mitochondria you have, which are the little powerhouses of our cells. The more excess glucose we can kind of soak up. You can think of our muscle tissue as a glucose sink. So I really frame exercise like, let's build our base of strength, and then we can add in those other layers, whether it's cardio for the cardiovascular, benefits, or high intensity interval training. So I try to get people to do 3 days of strength, lower reps, but a little bit heavier weight and long rest breaks. And that's kind of your foundation. And then we can build from there based on what someone's goals are. But I find that is best for preserving our energy while still getting a sweat and meeting our goals.
Fantastic. I love that as kind of as the foundation to
Yeah.
work up from. So that's fantastic. Another aspect that you actually referred to earlier was the nutritional aspect, to make sure that we're fueling ourselves enough. So more specifics on what we should really be eating and even drinking as far as hydration goes to keep our energy up during workouts.
Yeah. I mean, I love protein and a starch resistant carb afterwards. The research is mixed. Everyone afterwards used to be like, oh, you got to get that protein within 30 minutes. Now that window has extended, right? It doesn't have to be workout and then chug a protein shake. It can be a couple hour window after. Um, and, the more you're sweating, the more you're going to have to hydrate. So I think the recommendation for women is like 2.7 to 3 liters of water a day. That's just kind of for sedentary movement, like just walking. But if you're lifting, you're going to need a little bit more. And some people, some of the women I work with experience low blood pressure, sometimes POTS, especially with the autoimmune population, and need some electrolytes. So I'll have them have electrolytes with them as they're working out to
Oh,
keep them feeling good. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely think it's a good idea to look into the electrolytes. I Is there a specific recommendation on that, or is it just a general electrolyte type of sports drink?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely brands that do it well. Like Relight, I think that's from Redmond. Element, which is Rob Wolf's company. Yeah. Different people obviously have different doses. Like I could be drinking way more electrolytes versus someone else. So I definitely think it's like a personal preference and seeing how you feel, but people typically feel better and feel energy is sustained more evenly when they are introducing electrolytes into their water during a workout and afterwards.
Okay, so definitely look into that. See if maybe adding some electrolytes to your hydration rather than just the standard bottle of water helps you out with your workouts themselves and with your recovery.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking of recovery, is there anything extra other than getting good sleep that we might think of doing that might
Yeah.
actually help us with our recovery after workouts?
Yeah. So after workout, other than sleep, would be just having a well-programmed workout, right? Maybe it's 2 days on, a lower, and then an upper on two separate days, and then a rest day. There's different ways to build workouts, but you shouldn't be working out 7 days a week. Even 6 days a week is a lot, depending on the person and what history they have. So I think just a well-programmed program. I would say the majority of people I work with are working out 3 full body days. So we work them up to 3 days a week, full body for each of those workouts. And once they've mastered that and they're not feeling tired, they feel energized, because our workouts shouldn't take away from the rest of our day, right? It shouldn't make us
Mhm.
crash. It should really enhance our day. And then I typically move them to 4 days a week, but then we split. So it's Monday lower, Tuesday upper in terms of strength. Wednesday would be a rest day, and then Thursday lower, Friday upper. And then we usually program in some zone 2 training for fat loss, for cardiovascular health in one of those days. So that's kind of like 5 days, but that I work someone up to that for months. Like we don't start there. I think the other thing that you can do during your workout is, if you think about when you lift a weight, it's increasing your heart rate, it's increasing your breath rate. It is a stressor. Exercise is a stressor, right? And in those moments between our sets, can we use that as a place to retrain our nervous system? So I mean, you've heard of brain retraining, nervous system retraining, but it's all done in kind of a sedentary state, right? Like whether it's like breathing or tapping or butterfly taps or hugging to get our nervous system into the parasympathetic. But the people who perform the best and at the highest level experience a stressor and then drop back into the parasympathetic, that calm, rest, and digest quickly. The people who don't go through life with the same kind of ease as they experience a stressor and then they stay in that stressed, sympathetic, fight or flight, freeze state. So it's nice to use your workout. So you would do a set, your breath rate is up, your heart rate is up, and then you would do something that would, during your rest break, retrain your nervous system. So like humming, singing, vibration of the palate, um, for the duration of your rest break. Maybe it's like a minute to 2 minutes. Long, slow exhale. So the exhale out, the breath out is twice as long as the breath in. So I like to use that as a way of like nervous system retraining, a reset for the nervous system, because you are already working out. You already have the stimulus, the stressor. So why not use your rest breaks as a moment to retrain your nervous system to drop back down?
Wow, I love that. I love that little tip about resetting that nervous system on those breaks. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I have people hum. If they're in the gym, it's like you're humming. It doesn't matter, right? If they're at home, maybe they're singing. Um, and then really focusing on extending that exhale long and slow, twice as long as the breath in. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe singing at the gym won't be too bad either. Maybe just get those
Yeah.
AirPods in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
um, I'm thinking uh, also about people in the audience who may be trying other recovery techniques they might have heard about, things like cold plunges or even going into a sauna. What do you think
Yeah.
about doing things like that?
I love all of them and I do all of them. I think it definitely There's definitely a certain population that doesn't do well. So, for example, I have some friends who have autoimmune conditions and they have a panic attack when they get into a cold plunge, like within the first couple seconds. So, can you take that person and ease them in slowly? Like maybe they're doing their face, splashing cold water on their face. Like that would be step one. Then putting their face in like a little tub of ice water. Then doing the hands, feet in the face, right? So easing them in slow, because for some people who have a little bit of dysregulation in their nervous system, getting in a cold plunge will give them a panic attack. And so we don't want that. We want them to actually get the recovery benefits. But yeah, cold plunging, sauna. There's something called Flowpresso, which is kind of like Normatec boots, where they're compression boots, but they also have heat, so they're moving the lymph. Yeah, all those, I love all of those. I think it's just what is the right tool for the right person.
Makes sense. And it's always just good to know what's out there so you can try it and see if it works for you. And
Yeah,
of
for sure.
course, if you have certain medical conditions, as you had already given an example of, you may need to ease into it, or maybe even ask your healthcare provider who about tips on how you might try that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
One thing before we go, I wanted to make sure that we touched on the subject of mindset and mental focus. How much does that really matter for conserving our energy during workouts? Are there any techniques to help us boost our mental stamina?
Yeah. So I think a lot of us are coming to our workout and we're like, okay, we're just gonna like try and get through it as fast as we can, right? Like if we have 10 reps, it's like, okay, let's just like power through. Whereas here's this moment, right? We're so in our head every day, very cerebral, to connect the head to the body. So why would we power through, right? So I tell the people that I work with inside my program, every rep is a perfect rep of one, right? Um, I tell the women from a mindset perspective, especially the autoimmune population, like we do the hard things just in small doses. Because I think sometimes people who suffered from chronic illness are told, like, take it easy, don't do too much, just walk and stretch. But that's not going to feed your muscle tissue. It's actually not enough. And so, how can you give them the tools of strength training, but without the fear of injuring themselves, without the fear of doing too much? So I tell them, like, we do the hard things. Like, as women, we birth babies, like, we do hard things. We just do them in doses. So if you have a 20-minute workout, in 20 minutes, start to finish feels a lot, break it into 10 and 10, right? Like
Mm.
you're the research doesn't say, oh, you have to do the 20 in one dose. It's just the volume over time. Um, and then also the 5-minute rule. So none of us are motivated to like, none of us are like, oh, I just can't like wait to work out. Like, no, most of us really have to just create the momentum. And so the 5-minute rule is, when you don't feel like working out, go do it for 5 minutes. If you feel better, keep going. If you don't, like if you're actually, oh, I'm more tired from my workout, stop, go take a nap, go do what you need to do to replenish yourself. But 98% of the time, people are going to feel better and then they keep going. So it just helps jumpstart that momentum. But yeah, I think, especially with like a lot of women that I work with and train, we are way stronger than I think we perceive. So when we're like, oh, which weight should I pick up? We're actually quite stronger. So most women will opt for a lighter weight or do less reps or do less sets. And as you build the confidence over time, they actually can do more than what they thought. So I
Mm.
typically have someone do one set, um, and we choose a rep scheme. And then once they put it down, I ask, okay, how many more could you have done? If it's 2 to 3, that's a good place. If they're like, well, I could have done 5, maybe 10 more, you need to pick up a heavier weight. So I use as a gauge like reps in reserve, or I use kind of on a scale 0 to 10. 10's no way you can pick up the weight, one more rep. We want to hit by the last couple reps, like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Yeah, so that's that rate of perceived exertion. So there's different ways to see, but women are typically underestimating what
Mm.
they can do. And they're much, much stronger. I mean, I've been doing this for 17 years. Like they are way stronger, but they tend to pick up less. So over time with building confidence and the competency to not injure themselves, you can get them in a good place, building muscle, getting strong, all the things.
Fantastic. Such amazing information you shared. And I know that our audience would love to get in touch with you and see what more you have to offer, because you spoke about programs and the people that you are working with. So you do have a gift to offer members of our audience. And I think it's something that could be very, very helpful, especially for certain members with specific energy needs.
Yeah, so the gift is, my 5 tips to lose weight with Hashimoto's, because that's other than energy, weight loss is the number one to struggle with Hashimoto's. And it's coming at it not only from a movement rehab strength perspective, but also a little bit of a functional medicine perspective.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Definitely get to our folder with all of the amazing gifts. We, of course, provide that to you right here at the summit when you are registered. So thank you, Dr. Kiberd, for joining us and for extending this gift to our audience.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
This interview is just one of the many incredible conversations happening in the Fitness Mastery Summit. To access every expert interview and presentation, along with the exclusive bonus gifts from our amazing speakers, just click the link in the description and register for free. Don't miss out on all the tools and inspiration waiting for you to level up your fitness journey. Stay fit, be happy.